Insiders community. This is Matt Faircloth, and welcome to the DeRosa Insiders Live program. So we're going to bring on a guest now who's one of our DeRosa Accelerator program students, and we're going to have all kinds of cool conversations about legacy management, all kinds of cool stuff. So let's bring on our guest, give lots of hearts and love to our guest today, Theresa Leatherbury. Theresa, how are you?
Doing terrific, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing good. Thank you. Welcome to the DeRosa Insiders Live program today. I appreciate you agreeing to join us. So tell me a bit, you have a very interesting backstory. And I'm leery of this myself as someone just like you who's trying to build legacy for my family, trying to build wealth for myself that I can enjoy now, but also hand this down to generations to come. You are a generation that is enjoying the downline of efforts that were before you. And I joke that a lot of times we look at second and third generations, that those are the ones that completely squander and it all ends up going up their nose and everything like that, if you know what I'm saying, for wealth that was built by the first generations. You are the exception to that rule. Somehow or another, you and your siblings and your upline family were able to keep the party going that was created by your grandfather years ago. So tell us a bit of that backstory. Maybe my hope is that we can unpack a few lessons for those listening on how they could look to create something similar and not build this thing that gets squandered by their children or by their children's children. Talk us through your backstory first, and we'll unpack.
Sure, I'll take you all the way back to my grandfather, who was just a very smart, charismatic man. Wasn't without mistakes along the way. That's for sure. Yeah, family businesses always have some kind of skeleton in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather started as a bricklayer. He was from Long Island, New York. Came down to Baltimore, was doing some work in the construction industry, and through his connections, through his charisma, through his smarts, he started creating partnerships. He started doing some development projects, single family homes, townhomes, things like that. He did some commercial pieces. He did a large retail plaza that was then converted into a local mall in the Baltimore area. Then through the years, my father started working with him. It's my maternal grandfather. So this would have been his son-in-law. Started working with him, and they started to continue to grow the portfolio. They went through some ups and downs over time. And then, as many families do, there was a squabble over money at the second generation. And that's what happened. So my grandfather's portfolio was split into 3 buckets for his 3 daughters. My father took my mother's bucket and the work he was doing and continued to grow that. And that's what we have been working on and working through ever since.
Okay, so the other 2 buckets, without naming websites or companies or whatever, do you keep track of what happened to those buckets of money and those investments? Have they grown and flourished as well, or did they end up just getting dissolved and not watered and seeded and grown like you have?
They've mostly been sustained. And the reason for that is there was definitely some financial planning in that there are trustees overseeing the portfolios to help protect them. There aren't any other third generation working in those properties, on those portfolios anymore. My family is the only family who has continued the work in the business.
I see. So there's in the second generation, in that, on those other families, you got handed second generation. There were trustees, third parties overseeing these things, and they just said, okay, we'll put it in a lockbox and have some rules and regulations on when you can tap the money in the lockbox and everything like that. But it's not growing like others are.
Right.
It's so interesting. So it sounds like, Theresa, one of the benefits is in creating these. You tell me, if you were giving advice to someone perhaps like you and I, that's trying to build long-term family legacy and whatnot for our families down line and everything like that, what are some tips what if we want to do what your grandfather did and to build those, plant those seeds that could be grown through generations? And if you look at what was done properly through your family downline, there are multiple people, including yourself and other siblings you have, and maybe other cousins or whatever, that are making a living off of this portfolio. And then they're able to build their livelihood and feed their families off of this initial seed that was planted by your grandfather years and years ago. What's some advice you've got for people that want to do the same for themselves?
Some of the biggest things that I think about and the success that we've had, has been exposing the next generation to the business kind of as early as possible. I know both of my brothers at one point worked for my grandfather and they got to know the business. So I think that's one way to do it. I also feel like you have to be careful about having them feel entitled to
Hmm.
a certain role in the business.
You said the big E word.
Yeah, I said the big E word
Yeah. How did that has that
because
ever shown up? Do you see the entitled energy show up at all in this world of you've got this ginormous we're building these big pools, like these like big snowballs of money and of wealth. And you want to watch that like there's like the family goal to help build and maintain and grow it and not feel entitled to it.
not feel entitled
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
One of the
You know?
things that I think we've been successful is surrounding ourselves with a good team.
Mm.
Non-family members in certain important management and leadership roles.
Yeah.
That has really helped us as well because they've brought in experience and years of just knowledge that because they had been outside our company first, and so they would bring things into the company that would help us. I also feel like family members, if possible, it would be good for them to have that opportunity to work outside the business
Mhm.
before they come into the business. I know that when I came into the business, I didn't think I was gonna be part of the business. I had worked a completely different career
Huh.
for 18 years, and I brought that it was a career, it was a business that was going through some major changes and shifts, and I was gonna change a little bit, and my father asked me to come work for him. Never
Hmm.
thought that was an option. I don't think that he understood what I could do. I didn't know what I could do. I knew nothing about the business. Both of my brothers were in the business. Both of my brothers were in the business from high school, really. So I
Mm.
came in with a different business mindset that wasn't always well received from other family members. So there
Hmm.
was a little bit of a clash going on. Over time, the family members have seen the benefits of the other experience that I brought into the business and how
Mm.
that's been helping the family grow.
Hmm. I love
I
that idea of I don't know if there's like a mandate or if you have like a family manifesto or whatever, but if you don't, there should be that should be one of the rules is that you got to go work somewhere else before you work here. If you're working in like a family business or family operation, because I've seen other family operations run and it can become so entangled and the only way they know how to do business is the way that the family does business and you end up with these awful phrases that get said. This is the way we've always done it and this is the way that granddaddy was doing it and so we got to do it this way too because there's been no exposure to other work cultures or other best habits that happen outside that ecosphere. So I think that's a great lesson too for anybody listening here that wants to build this like family legacy snowball for themselves. So fast forward to today, your company, you're on the property management side running part of the real estate assets that the company owns totaling over 500 units, correct?
about 700 units, yes.
700 units under management. That's awesome. What are like, and these are larger multifamily assets, not onesie twosie single families or anything like that. These are larger
Right.
properties. Okay, got it. What was the most surprising, like hopping into the multifamily management pool coming from where you came from? What kind of was the biggest learning curve in learning how to run mid to large size multifamilies?
I think I had to learn everything from the ground up
All right.
because when I came into the business, we were not managing our properties. We had a third party manager. We were doing some land development, some home building. That kind of all went away in '08, '09. When I came into the business, I
Mm,
immediately was attracted to the property management side of the business.
mm,
I sat with the property managers and I learned what I could. I did industry education. I got certifications. I studied a lot. After about 2 years of being in the business, I decided that we've got what it takes to bring our management in-house. So I
mm.
started our management business about 2 years being in to the business,
Okay.
and I just realized how important good people are. And
Hmm.
over time, we've transitioned out some stagnant people and brought in people who were growth and abundance mindset people, and they wanted to learn. We've made a lot of changes. Being part of the industry associations helped significantly. The people that I met, the information that I learned, and I feel like always learning something new is very important,
Mm.
and that's really helped us. So now we manage our 700 units, and we're looking to grow that. We actually just signed on with a third-party client that is also in growth mode, so we're excited about taking on somebody else's management. And that
All
was
right.
something that I just wasn't really looking for, but through some networking, it was referred to us. And I said, let's take a look at it, and decided that this company fits really well with our values and it was going to be a good fit. So we're doing that as well.
Hmm. And it's tough as a startup company to think about things of what are your values, right? What does your company stand for? How about I stand for not going bankrupt this month? That's my value, is making a few dollars. But the companies that I've seen that are successful, or Liz and I came up with this phrase when we started DeRosa, transforming lives through real estate, very early in the game. And I think that even when you're just getting started, it's important to think about what you're standing on. And I'm sure has enabled you in hiring the right people and aligning with the right people, being willing to do the right projects. And as you said, taking on a very strategic, you're really locking arms with somebody if you're going to be managing their multifamily asset for
Mhm.
them, and making sure they've got the right philosophy, because there's some people that just manage to the bottom line versus managing to the prosperity mindset of it and playing the long game and everything like
Right.
that. Kudos to you guys for having written goals and standards and foundations as a company.
And that has been really helpful. We went through an exercise several years ago where we had all the employees give input on what we thought our values were, what we
Hmm.
thought our mission should be, and what we should be our guiding principles. And we settled on our guiding principles. We call it building value, creating experience. And the
Hmm.
building value part is not only building value for the owners of the real estate that we manage, but also building value in the lives of the people who work for Rachuba. That
Yeah.
was very important. It was very important to have them continue to learn, to want to grow, to be happy with where they are or where they wanna go, and that's been a
Hmm.
really good fit. They all helped
Hmm.
us create our values and our mission statement, and now they're willing to really grab it and own it and live it, and
Yeah,
we see that a lot with our employees. And we
that's
have
great.
very little turnover too, so we've been very fortunate.
And you probably have this, as I started to see it at DeRosa when we started to establish a really good culture. They start to see it as their company too.
Yes,
Whether it's true or not, they feel like they own a piece of it. Now we have some company share programs that we do and everything like that with some of our staff, but they just feel like it's theirs when they're aligned with that culture, right?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Okay. So that you're not only you're managing all these apartment buildings and stuff like that, but you've gotten into taking into the equity side because you want to buy more. I know you can't just take as a downline from someone who planted a seed probably 60 years ago, 70 years ago, as your grandfather did. But you can't just take the flowers that are growing from that plant. You want to plant your own seeds now. And that's one of those things that it's good. I think some of your grandfather rubbed off on you, that you're out there trying to find more deals that you can do so that three generations below Theresa are now out there looking for growing and everything like that, because you can't just take what's been given you and maintain it. You have to grow as well. What does that look like in the desire to grow your acquisitions and that, like, how's that gone so far, and talk us through what you're up to now?
If you're not growing, you're dying, so it's
Yeah.
there's no maintaining. And that's the mindset that I
Yeah.
have is we've got the next generation, there are 10, 11 in the next generation already, the youngest of which is 25. We need to be
Hmm.
growing for
Awesome.
the next generation. So there was that, the concern about the family trust and the value of the assets and growing for the next generation, and also just the excitement of a little bit of the excitement of the chase, the growth mindset that I would love to acquire some more properties. Let's figure out how to do it, and
Hmm.
do I do it trying just to use the family money? There are definitely some roadblocks with that because it's not just my money, it's the family money, it's a collective decision.
You got to run that through the committee.
how to
Right.
run that through.
And the committee might not wanna do all that stuff and everything like that.
And
So,
anybody who works in a family business knows decisions are not made quickly at all in a family business.
yeah.
Then as I've met people and talked to people like you, Matt, I think you and I met a long time ago and then just got reconnected a couple years ago. The concept of helping other people grow their wealth through real estate and being the catalyst to help make that happen. That was
Yeah.
very intriguing to me. And that's when I started to really dive into that and look a little bit more into that. And when I saw your coaching program, I thought this is exactly what I need to frame my mindset on how to move this forward.
That's so great. That's so great because there's something to like for the listeners here. There's something to be said for taking the skill, like the skill sets we learned. Okay, here's this big bag of skills that I've got, and I can use these skills to benefit myself. But what if I can take them out and serve others with that too? And I think that, as they say, the more people you serve, the more money you're going to make. And that seems to be evident in your corporate culture you've created in your management company, but also in your desire to do more deals and grow in that while also helping investors make a return on the backs of three generations worth of knowledge that you have and on property management and on the derivatives and learning and building and everything like that that you learned over the years as well. That's all great. So you're active down there. Look, how's the Baltimore, DC, Maryland market going right now? I think that that's your playground, right? So how are those markets doing?
We're seeing a lot of, maybe not a significant amount, but we've seen some deals recently. One of the things is there are certain areas that we're not comfortable going into, and there
Yeah.
seems to be a lot more properties trading in those areas where maybe we're not comfortable, my team's not comfortable,
Yeah.
maybe there's not really long-term growth in those markets. I've looked at several since I've been in this program with you, I've probably looked at 8 or 10 deals and haven't been able to get any of them to really pencil out. I've got 2 now that I'm, again, looking at, and I think that the tools that you are providing are helping us analyze whether or not they make sense. There have been some deals where the roadblock was, I wanted to get the family involved and they weren't interested.
Hmm.
And that has been a roadblock a couple of times. There's movement in this market. It's not a huge amount of movement, but I'm seeing more and more. Recently, I'm seeing a few
We're
things.
seeing that too. We're seeing a lot more deals come on. A lot of them don't make sense, but I've told you what I've told our other students too. Don't be afraid to make an offer just because if
Right,
they're asking X and 80% of X is where the deal makes sense.
right.
Most deals that I'm seeing that actually go to closing are always closing for a good bit less than what the seller puts them on the market for because we're in a bit of a retracting market. Although rates are coming back down, I still think that sellers' expectations are definitely changing quickly, and they're willing to maybe take a bucket of cold water in the face on what they need. Maybe they need that and what their deal's worth. So that's great. Okay, talk me. So that's that. Let's see. What's the capital raising initiative been like for someone that's got a ton of industry experiences you have? What's it been like beginning the journeys of getting a lot of eyeballs and new attention on your company for raising capital for the initiatives that you're in the middle of?
I've been doing it a lot through networking, initially starting through networking, talking to people that I know. I have a really great network in the Baltimore area, just through some networking groups, some people that I've met. And in that process, I've met several in the real estate space or who are interested in investing in real estate. So I've
Hmm.
started with just conversations with people. Then I just started working with Marissa from Caploom. So I'm putting that CRM in place. That is not up and running yet. We're probably about a month away before that is happening. But I've
Hmm.
had some conversations of, there's one person that I know whose wife is a doctor and they're ready to invest, and she has a lot of network in the medical field who want to invest. I've had conversations with people who are already in the real estate space that are willing to partner with me either on the GP side or on the LP side. And I've even met one of your other students, actually.
Yeah.
And we started talking about partnering
Mark.
in the Maryland, yeah, with Mark.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah. Yeah.
Maryland area, we looked at one property
That's great.
together, we're potentially looking at another property together. So a lot of it is the networking. I have not done the hit the ground running marketing social media campaign, and I think the Cat Bloom CRM is really gonna help me.
You will, and a lot of that's when when you really want to put the pedal in and push for a deal and everything like that. But I want the listeners to hear that it's we've all got a community. It's not like Theresa went and said, "Okay, let me go and make all new friends and go join a new country club and go move to a new area. Let me move to a new place where there's people with money, and then I'm going to go and raise money from that market."
Right.
What you guys want to do, listeners here, is learn to just tell people that are all around you what you do and how great investing is, and talk about investing shop in the circles that you're in, one of which the Theresa's in is our accelerator program. There's other people in networks that you're in. I just got back from Bigger Pockets from BPCon. And you never know who's in rooms and who's in circles when you join them and stuff like that, like Accelerator. So it's also about joining new circles too, and making sure those in new circles are aware of what you do. So Theresa, really great tips. I really love I just want to unpack a few things. The generational knowledge that your company has, and that you've been able to take things you've learned and not just rest on your laurels and continue to grow with what you've been entrusted with. Number one, I love the company foundations that you've created with your staff, and I love where you want to go. And you're going to get there. How do people that want to reach out and hear more about Rachuba, how do they do that?
They can contact us on our website, which is www.rachuba.com, and Rachuba is spelled Rachuba. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can find me on LinkedIn and message me through there. That's probably the two best ways to find me.
There you go. There you go, guys. Keep an eye on Theresa Leatherbury and on Rachuba. That is a company on the rise. That's an organization you guys are going to be hearing a lot more about and a lot more from. Investing in let's say in like the kind of central part of the United States there, in the breadbasket of America there in Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, those areas in the Midwest, or I'm sorry, in the Mid-Atlantic. That's the word I was struggling for. Mid-Atlantic region investor. That's what you're going to get when you invest in Rachuba, with decades of industry experience. All right, Theresa, thank you for joining us on DeRosa Insiders Live. Really great having you here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.